Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Odin's Game Night.
We are the Trifecta.
I'm Zach.
I'm Jason,
I'm Isaac.
and we're the Trifecta.
Coming to you here from Multiverse Comics and Gaming in Culpeper, Virginia.
Sponsored by Daniel, of course, our gracious host.
Yep.
So,
Hey, that's really good. So this week we're gonna, we'll start off like as usual. What did we play this weekend?
well, interestingly enough, I think we all played the same thing.
Yes,
This
we
was
did.
a ginormous game of Firefly. Let me tell you. So this game, it takes forever to play, but boy, is it a treat. It took us, what was it, 2 years to coordinate time for us to actually set 5 to 6 hours just to sit down and play.
Yeah, but it was worth it.
Oh,
Yes. But
absolutely.
it also just highlights the sadness of real life.
Real life,
yeah, well,
and 5 hours of one board game.
True.
Was it 5? Wasn't it more?
We
Five
started
and a
about
half.
2 o'clock. That was I think when we officially started playing, and then
Yeah.
we went to 7.
Yeah. So
30-ish.
okay, 5 hours.
About 5 hours.
You know, the game lies. It says like 30 minutes per person.
I mean, we did have 6 people in the board game.
Long
yesterday.
games always do.
Yeah.
They always do. But no, I mean, I don't know about everyone. Well, I do know about everyone else's experience, but from my point of view, it was the worst game I've ever played because I literally could do nothing. You know, in this game, you like fly around the verse and you buy people. Like that's wrong. You don't buy people. You
Hire crew.
people.
What kind of ship were you doing where you bought people?
Maybe that's why my people were so
Just like
unhappy.
the show, it's a
you
space
you
western.
hire people.
You go around, you hire your crew.
Just like the
you,
show.
You upgrade your ship.
You go on
You-
missions.
You go on missions.
Yeah.
Make-
and you wear
make that
fancy
money.
duds.
Yep, we were all wearing actual hats and whatnot. It was pretty cool. But now you get items and like I had a nice little crew that nothing special. But and then I kept trying this one mission, and we just couldn't do it. And
Maybe
then
you just don't aim to misbehave.
nice.
Yeah.
But no, this guy decides to come in and steal all my crew members because they were all unhappy.
They were super unhappy.
Oh, and then what happened? They all died.
Wait a
but they
spoiler.
died happy.
Spoiler alert.
How was your experience in the game?
It was great. I did exactly what I do every time I play that game. For some odd reason, when it comes to Firefly, I'm just happy flying around the verse, doing jobs and collecting crew.
Specifically the
Firefly crew. I'm
Where
very
was this
specific.
flying around part? Because there's at least 7 turns in a row where you just sat at Persephone.
I
with the
really
people.
liked Persephone.
I mean,
I can't help it that River and Simon were at the bottom of the deck.
and I thought
Didn't you shuffle that deck?
I did not shuffle that deck. You did? Okay. I thought maybe Lee did.
but I
No.
didn't know you wanted.
No, for me, I had one shining moment of glory when I completed a mission. It was downhill from there. It
Yeah.
just never worked out.
Stealing all my people and getting them killed.
Hey, you said come at me, Dracula. Dracula brought it.
You're right.
That's
Dracula.
exactly what happens. Once again, Jason's his own worst enemy.
So interestingly enough, today we're actually going to do our first ever, guest co-star. Her name is Brittany. She's my girlfriend. Brittany, come on over.
Welcome,
Hi,
welcome.
you guys.
What's up?
Oh,
Hey, you played that Firefly game too.
I did.
And how did you feel about it?
Well, I came in second, so pretty good.
I know, we invited my friend Oscar over, and he's just like really good at games, and I don't know.
We left
like,
him alone,
we-
that's why.
and-
Left him alone and
I-
he didn't talk.
I
He
should.
sold a lot of illegal stuff.
That one load, he just loaded a lot of. Had the biggest cargo ship, and he just loaded it up.
He kept messing with people too, and like I had the chance to mess with him, but see, I'm a naturally generous person.
He's
I
gullible.
I'm not gullible. I am generous. I don't like to cause player conflict, so I was like, I could really screw him over, and I should have.
He's generously aloof.
Yes, Jason.
But yes, it was a good time, and like we said, we're gonna start trying to have on more co-hosts to talk about the themes that we want to go over.
Speaking of themes, that does bring us to this week's theme. This week we are going to talk about classic board games. You know, the games that we grew up playing as kids.
The excitement is real.
We're not going to talk about that over there.
You
She's
can-
really
you
excited to
can
talk about
feel
what,
it.
This is
Yahtzee.
my favorite game.
Get that crap out of here.
My favorite.
But I will, you know, we will start with our guests, so it is very polite. Brittany, go ahead and talk about
Oh gosh.
your favorite classic board game.
Okay, so what is? Oh, maybe we should. What is
You
a
wanna talk
classic-
about- okay.
What is a classic board game? I mean, really, they're just those games that.
Well, one way you
So-
could describe them is old.
That's the big thing.
Yeah,
Is that you
original.
can definitely think of the
Original,
games that you
I
played
mean.
as kids. That you think of classic games as more family board games that you played. You know,
Can you imagine?
Monopoly.
Games you can easily find in Walmart.
Games that your random relatives just had on the shelf.
You know, interestingly enough, a few years from now, you know, I'm pretty sure they have a Settlers of Catan Jr. and that might be
Well, they have
what is considered a classical game at some point.
I actually think it's it's definitely moved on from obscure European game to family board game because it's definitely sold
I
at
never
Walmart
heard
and
about
Target.
it until I joined the board game.
Well, I'm
group.
saying a few years from now.
You know.
Not.
I mean, you would think of games that, like, most classic games are the ones you find under your Christmas tree at Christmas time.
Yeah.
You know, the games are like, hey, let's get something for the family to do, and they get a copy of Monopoly. So you have 15 copies of Monopoly in your closet.
Yeah.
It's
don't-
slow games when you tell your parents what to get you for Christmas, and if you just generically say board games, they're the
Those are
games they
it.
would get you.
But don't you have a great story about somebody giving you one of the family game as a present?
Oh, my sister last year got me Hi Ho Cheerio for Christmas.
So,
Real
is that
timeless
wait?
classic.
Is that a classic game or like a
So what is Hi Ho
It is.
Cheerio, to be exact?
A game that teaches young children how to count.
Man, what a troll.
You pick cherries off of a tree by the number that you roll.
But you know, therein lies the kind of, I guess, you know, beauty and simplicity of classic games is they're just simple. You know, they don't. Usually the rule book is like a few pages long, if that, if not one. You know, they don't require too much. Like life here, just you spin a dial, you move that many spaces, you make some choices, and move on. Collect
You gotta
money.
make a lot of choices in life.
I will say
I mean,
this.
it's called life.
good,
You know?
good point.
And you brought up a point that I'm thinking about now is like 10 years from now, what is going to be considered a classical game to
Monopoly.
people? Is it still going to be
That's
No,
Monopoly?
Monopoly's
still
already.
a classic.
Yeah, that
It's
was
still
already-
going to be considered a classic in 10
But I mean,
years.
it's still
Or are we
sure.
going to have like whole new...
still gonna be a
but,
game
you know,
that everyone
what
I
about-
would think it will be more broad.
What about our gateway games that we talked about? I mean, would any
I think
of
that will
those,
change.
Do you think those
Yeah,
would
I
be
think that's
considered
gonna
classic
change.
at some
Um,
point? I mean, at least
I also feel like classic games have to be directed towards kids.
that's what started at least.
I mean, I
don't
would
know
think so,
about
'cause-
direct.
I mean,
Because do you know any classical board games that kids can't play?
Trivial Pursuit?
I mean,
I
chess
love-
is
yeah.
a fairly
I-
classical game that takes
Kids
some.
can play chess.
They
Kids
can.
play chess.
They have a chess
My
club.
nephew would beat
I
you at
guess
chess.
that's, you know,
Hands down.
I don't think
You are
that's
wrong.
I feel like that,
I actually
that
think
kind
he
of
will.
that kind of goes back to Gateway, Classic, stuff like that. But to me, like my classic board games when I was growing up was I played Trivial Pursuit with my parents a lot. Had that like Triominoes, which was very interesting. It was a triangle-shaped domino basically, and you're trying to line it up and everything.
Man, you're old.
Yeah.
I played
Well,
Risk, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Monopoly.
Monopoly.
I was trying not to talk about
Yahtzee!
Risk because I think we've mentioned
Yahtzee.
Risk in every video, but that's because I love it.
Yeah,
Risk is an awesome game.
I think I've
It's
only
great.
ever played that game once.
You haven't
Maybe
lived
you just suck
until
at
you
it.
had your family
So,
tells you, "Hey, we're gonna
that's a
pause
good
this board game till tomorrow."
That's a good thing because I've only played it once, and it was with this guy. So we were both
Did
each
he
other's
suck
first
at it?
time in a rig. We both did because we didn't know what we were doing.
Oh, okay.
I am
Wow.
decent.
We were just inexperienced. That's all.
I
We
don't
didn't know
if
what
I
we were
believe Jason.
Did you go to Australia first? I just need to know this. You seem
I
like
don't
the Australian
That's
believe
type.
like the prime spot.
I don't know. I'm
That's
a big
the
fan
trend.
of
And here we go
Of-
talking about risk.
Africa. Think about it.
That is
Maybe
my
that'll be our
second
first
choice.
slave
Okay.
game.
Not bad. I knew it.
It's gonna have
I
to
knew
be
we
if
had
we
some
keep
of the
going
same
this way.
strategies. How do you feel about Asia?
Never start a land war in Asia.
What a bunch of
Yeah.
nerds. true.
But aren't we all inside?
That's
Yeah,
true.
but I mean, in our family, as I've mentioned numerous times, Risk was that board game for my family. We'd sit there and play every version that we had. There was a version that came out in the 70s, I think 70s, called Castle Risk, which was interesting.
Don't look at me like
you don't
I
ever.
would know.
I don't know if it's ever. I don't even think it's still in print. I really
It
don't
could
think
be a
it is.
collector's edition now. You
Yeah.
know?
I mean, I think my first ever classical game was Candyland, to be honest. And you know, even to this day, like I'd probably still play it just because of how, like, don't.
He was 18
Don't
when he
take me wrong.
played it.
How dumb it is! Like I like a higher caliber of thinking in my games today, and that game doesn't really require thinking. You draw a card, whatever color it is, you move to that space, and
I
you
always
might
really
get a
liked
shortcut.
it because it looked super tasty.
Well,
Very true. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it
Like,
was
man,
colorful.
Man,
I
some
get
candy
that.
would be to be in
I was
Candyland
like,
would
wow.
be amazing.
This sounds awesome.
Because I could do this.
I also played Shoots and Ladders.
Oh yeah, no, that's another one that I grew up on as well.
And it got devastated by the giant slide.
Well,
So,
but it was always fun too, man.
Not when it came to the giant slide.
I mean, there's two schools of thought. One's
You'll lose.
competitive,
You just-
one's
you're
not.
gone.
You know, one's
You're
just
done
trying to have
for.
be
fun.
non-competitive playing a board game?
Oh,
What is
absolutely.
that?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, I'm fairly non-competitive, unless
That
I
is
might
a
get
lie.
That's a
certain
lie.
people.
That's a lie.
We played Blockus as a team, and he's still
Hold
trying to
on, no,
beat me.
you can't. Hold on. This was at this point in my life where she just wanted to challenge me at every game, and
We were a team.
I played Blockets with her once, and she destroyed me, and I vowed never to let that happen again.
But we were a team.
But hold on, now.
And he destroyed it.
Up until we played that, you know, I kept playing her and I just kept destroying her, so it was kind of ingrained in me to do it, and I didn't mean to do it. I was trying to block someone else
Excuses.
off from getting to her, and in turn wound up blocking her off. Not my
Excuses.
finest moment, I promise, but
Well, let me ask you this. What modern board games do we have that we like to play, do you think, that you would see becoming classical? Like, you talked about the 10 years,
One
and
Night
I
Werewolf.
kind Huh?
One Night Werewolf.
You think it... I mean, I know a lot of people
I
who...
had already played a version of that game with a deck of cards. When
Well,
I was
I mean,
a kid.
that's interesting. Yeah, that's a.
I definitely think, like, we look at Apples to Apples is already in that family game genre.
Yeah, I would count that already.
Yeah, I would say
Oh,
it's already
yeah,
firmly
no,
out
yeah,
there.
apples. I mean,
I was kind of thinking,
But in all fairness, once you play Cards Against Humanity, Apples to Apples is dead. There's no way to. There's no way to go back to that. But
Unless
Yeah,
you're trying to
that-
play with your parents.
unless you're playing with family,
that,
you know,
that's
the
a
family
Then you
likes to
can
keep
go
it
back.
PG.
that's a talk
Yeah.
all in of its own.
Yeah, we'll get to that one.
to me,
Um,
I think that Betrayal at House on Hill could become a classic one day.
You know,
I would love to see it that way. I
So-
love that game.
I
Oh, we forgot about Clue.
We'll
We
get
have-
to that.
yeah, we'll get to
We're
that.
getting there,
But as for Betrayal at House on Hill, I don't know. It's got too many different elements to, I
Well,
think, be
but
too
it might
family
be
friendly.
But
that-
after one playthrough of Betrayal and House on the Hill, you know how to play that game.
Well, once
and
again,
you're-
but see, that game requires
Yes,
you to
adult you
read.
do,
oh,
sure.
another one.
I don't know. I played when we played at the library with the teenagers at the library.
Well,
They
teenagers.
grabbed onto that like it was
Okay,
nothing.
That's a
that's
different
teenagers though.
Yeah.
Another one. Ticket to Ride.
Ticket-
I
oh,
think that-
oh, yeah.
I
Yeah,
feel
that's-
like that could
that'd
be.
I feel like that's
Monopoly
actually
level.
already a classic one. Almost.
Well, I'm checking. I haven't
as
seen it
in-
get
as in,
competitive.
you know, everybody would have one, and
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
kinda
Yeah.
fine.
No. That's a good choice. That. Yeah. I didn't think about that one. Which, by the way,
What about
special shout
Wits-
out to that to our Gateway game. Because we missed that one completely.
We did.
I thought we talked like we mentioned it. We never talked about it.
Yeah.
Maybe
I'm
a
pretty
name
sure we
drop.
mentioned-
Maybe a
Name drop. That's probably about it.
Ticket to Ride.
Yeah, that's probably
get it.
exactly what it's got.
Daniel
what about
probably
Wits
has.
and Wagers?
That's a good one.
I mean, like,
Is
so
that a classic?
That's,
I
to me,
mean-
that's kind of like Family Game kind of thing.
it's definitely it's firmly
Party
a family
game
game.
for sure.
It
Party
could- well,
game,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, definitely a party
Which,
game.
you know,
but-
I guess party games could be classics, but more to the point, you know, today we want to honor those games that, you know, were our classics growing up, whatnot. I mean, my personal one growing up was chess. Like, you know, I learned it a little later, probably around the 4th or 5th grade, something like that.
Yeah.
And I I really love that each piece, has its own special movements, and you gotta somehow coordinate that to beat your opponent, and they're working off the same thing, just with a different mindset. And I love that, there's just that differences. And, like, as I've grown up, I've learned that they have different versions of chess. Same game, but as you see before me, it's a Mario chess set. And my above all favorite, if you couldn't tell, I love Legend of Zelda. I have a Legend of Zelda chess set, which is so beautiful. The pieces are just so handcrafted and they fit well. This one doesn't. I hate this one. Because it was, I don't know.
Because you're a ding dong.
Because it was a missed opportunity.
It was. I mean, for the love of God, Luigi is a queen. Why is Princess Peach not queen? Anyways, that's a different story. But regardless,
Luigi's the queen of that?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't.
The princesses are the bishops.
It doesn't. I don't.
Okay, that's fine.
I brought the wrong chess game. But the point is.
Also, Bowser Jr. is a queen.
I can see it.
And of course, it is a higher grade of classical, I feel. Like, it is something that, almost every household would have, along with checkers.
Definitely
checkers.
Yeah.
Yeah, we almost forgot about that one.
I mean, but then you're also forgetting like the older ones too, like Chinese checkers, Mancala.
Oh, yeah.
Go.
Speaking
Go,
of, I have never played Mancala
backgammon.
until this year. I did not know it was a thing. And I absolutely adore it.
I love that. I totally just named off a bunch that I've never played myself, but I know of them.
Yeah, that's fair.
We can, that is why we had a classic board game night, so we could play games like that that we hadn't thought
The most
about.
important one.
The best thing is,
Do not get her started.
Although
It is the best one that you can play.
I did
Ever.
not bring it with me, but I am very partial to Clue.
it was a great
enjoy it.
game.
Don't be Mr. Green.
There's nothing wrong with Mr. Green.
We played that. There was a version
Except
of
for the
Clue. It's
fact
not really a
that it's
classic.
so
It's a
chill.
modern update about the one where you get lost in.
The Lost in Vegas.
Lost in Vegas.
It's basically like PG The Hangover Clue.
Yeah.
How do we feel about those remakes?
For the most part, I need to get the Office Space Risk.
Hmm.
I
Wait, what?
disagree.
Office Space Risk?
Yeah, it's
How
Risk
is that
in an
even
office.
a thing?
I
Target's
think
just like,
the
hey,
best
crazy
are
thing,
the
politics.
originals.
I agree. Like, for instance, I have a Metal Gear Solid Risk, which it's pretty much the same game, except it has troop commanders you can hire, and they have special abilities and such.
I think therein lies the different versions and special abilities.
Well,
Yeah.
the big thing about classic games is the base game always stays the same.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And sometimes I think there for a little while they were struggling to sell classic board games.
That makes
because
sense.
everybody
Because
can go to
everyone has
a
them.
pawn store and pick them up, or a flea market, or a yard sale and get a copy. And so they were trying to
I agree
update
with
them. Risk
Flooded the market.
is actually one of the very first legacy games that they had.
Yeah, and that's actually pretty impressive that it reached that status. I gotta say, I mean, me myself, I'm not a super big fan of classical games, like I've already stated. I prefer a higher grade of just skill.
It's Jason's way.
I also do like chance a
Yeah.
lot, but I like chance mixed with other things. Anyway, classical games they don't really do it for me, but I do think it's a good idea that they revamp them with different things because I think it gives them new life.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure everybody's got like a regular version of Monopoly, but you get kids nowadays with for instance, they have an Avengers Monopoly.
Yo, my favorite is
So-
a Legend of Zelda
The
one.
credit card monopoly, where they had no cash; it was all
Yeah,
credit card
yeah,
based.
I actually really enjoyed that one. You know how awesome it was? Just
Yeah, I
like that
can't get
thing?
you to
Not-
play Cheers Monopoly.
Not a
with me.
fan
I
of
Because
that
I
concept.
don't like
I
cheaters.
liked actually holding the money, especially
Yeah.
when you have a nice stack of it and you're like, ha ha, got a stack of
But
money.
it also makes you so sad when you're like, I have
Yeah, I mean,
200
Yeah.
left.
And then you have a credit card that you
Also,
can't
the
actually
credit
see.
card makes it really easy to cheat.
Does it? I have actually never
Oh,
played that
yes.
version.
And how was that?
If you're the banker, you can easily accidentally type in a different number.
That's true. Yeah, there's not much stopping that.
Yeah, but
I have
who
no
was a banker that didn't
experience from
slip
this.
themselves an extra $100 when they were a kid?
I was never bankers.
I was very truthful. Always.
Probably play by yourself too.
What?
What?
Jason is the quintessential.
Not
He is the
usually.
quintessential solo player.
No!
All right. That was scheduled for later in the show. I guess with that, we start drawing to a close. We want to talk a little bit of business here. We are, once again, Odin's Game Night. We do meet every Saturday here at Multiverse. I'd also like you, if you like our video, to please like and subscribe. We have a couple different upcoming themes coming up. One of them being our campaign night, which will be this Saturday coming up. And then after that will be our focus night, where we focus on one of our board game members.
2 of them actually.
Two.
This time.
Oh yeah, we actually have 2 this time coming up.
Our good friends Chris and Rowan.
Yep. They will be picking and selecting games that they appreciate for us to try out and play.
Yeah.
Our campaign night is exactly what it sounds like. We are starting campaigns up again. I know that there's a role-playing game going on. I think somebody's got a D&T.
Yeah.
I want to get a hold of, some people to play Seafall with me, which is a seafaring game.
Might get into that.
Yeah. So, please join us at Multiverse, like I said, on Saturdays from 5 to 10 p.m. Anything else anybody else wants to add in?
Yahtzee's the best!
All right.
That, my friends, was Jason demonstrating how every game of Monopoly ends. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Be sure to like and subscribe. Hit the bell button to get notifications, and we will see you in the multiverse. Bye.